Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So this is something that just came in today, actually, time of recording. It's been sitting in my pile of loot for a while, but I didn't have my pile of loot shipped until this past week, so he just arrived today. So go ahead and leave us a like, because what we are looking at today is the Four Horsemen Big Bad Toy Store 25th Anniversary Edition of Stavros the Unwavering. This dude is huge. He is so much bigger than what I was expecting. In the description, they said it was at like the 6-inch scale, the 1/12 scale. I missed that he's a 10-inch figure. So this also leads to something that I just did this past weekend. I am not a big collector of Four Horsemen, of Mythic Legions, of any of those lines, so I am fairly new to Four Horsemen. The figure that they put up for their figure Obscura this past weekend, I read the description as the brute scale was a new scale, not that the figure was the newest in their brute scale, which is what the description actually says. So I'm guessing this is their brute scale, this big 10-inch figure that's meant to be scaled at like the 12-inch line, or I'm sorry, at the 6-inch lines. I mean, until we get this guy out of the packaging, like, I cannot describe just how beast this is if you've never received any of these dragon characters or any of like these brute scale figures from Four Horsemen. He's awesome. I can't wait to get him out of the box. He's just worlds bigger than what I thought he was going to be. And speaking of the packaging, this is actually very cool right here. I love the font that they used for Stavros the Unwavering. You have like flame volcano rocks down here, and then the smoke coming up from the top. The smoke carries on up to the top flap where you have the Four Horsemen logo. On the side here, just some art, the Four Horsemen icon. We have their contacts, their media, their web pages down here. On the side here, I thought this was very nice, that at the top here we have Big Bad Toy Store 25 years, Stavros, and then we have a nice write-up right here that like the Four Horsemen basically thanking Big Bad Toy Store for all of their support over the years. This is a very nice write-up. I like that. Go ahead, pause and read that if you want to. I think it's kind of cool that they acknowledge that. On the back here, we have a great promotional image of Stavros, which I think this was actually on the website as well. This image does not... I can't wait to see how huge this sword is whenever we get him inside. And on the bottom, we have more of that. So, it's very heavy too. Just because, like, I really want to get this guy open and I want to see what's going on with this figure at this brute scale and just get a better look at him. Without further ado, let's get him out of the box and let's take a look at the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions Big Bad Toy Store 25th Anniversary Edition of Stavros the Unwavering. Okay, here he is, Stavros the Unwavering, out of his box, and putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is 9 7/8 to the top of his head. Not quite the full 10 inches, but I'm willing to bet that it has something to do with sort of like this hunched neck sculpt that Stavros has going on. So when I first ordered this and I thought I was getting like a 6-inch figure, I was thinking, well, $80 is a little on the high end, but I've bought 1/12 figures that are that price or more, so I didn't completely object to it, obviously, because I have him, but I was also wondering, like, what put the price up that high? Well, now I know, because this is a big chunk of a piece of plastic. Like, you could beat somebody with Stavros here and probably win the fight. He is heavy, he is thick, there is some weight, and there is some beautiful, beautiful sculpt to him that we're going to be taking a look at. This right here in his fully like armored up, fully clothed version, this is how he comes out of the box. You can take a lot of this off, and we will take a look at that in a minute. But before we do, it's worth drawing attention to the detail of his armor right here, of the belts clips right here. This looks fantastic. His wrist bracers here on each side, as well as like his shin guards down here, where you can see there is some like paint nicks right there. And I don't think that's a flaw. I think that's actually just supposed to be like weathering, like my man has seen some action. I don't see any up top. There is like a black wash going over this to like give it the look of age, and you can see some dings in it right there. But this, I don't know, maybe that is chipping paint right here. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, if it is, I don't have a problem with that because it fits the motif of like, no, because I think it's supposed to be the way it is, because there's some right there as well. Now, where there is paint chipping for me, anyway, is right here on the ball joint. And I think I'm about to pop the foot out of the socket right there. But you can see like that metallic paint is sort of like bunching up. Whoop, and it just flaked off. But luckily there's red plastic underneath. So that's kind of a bummer. But at least this isn't like a completely different color. It is red, so it won't stand out all on its own. That's kind of a bummer. I'm kind of upset about that. But not a deal killer for me, because then when you look at the rest of this, like even his belt buckle right here with that dragon eye, and you can see like the snake going around it. He has just bones hanging off. This is all very soft plastic too, by the way. This and the center pieces is all one piece, so they don't come apart. Then he has the leather straps hanging down, and you can see some excellent aging on the leather right there. Once again, like I said, this metallic cherry red that they have going on, like this is delicious. I love this. I absolutely love the coloring of this right here. The belt continues its leathered pattern around the back. The tunic is completely soft goods. And of course he is in that Big Bad Toy Store coloring, red, black lettering, some white highlights right here. And you can see the BBT. I'm having trouble seeing the S. If anybody can see the S in here, please tell me where it's at. Unless like there's just a bunch of S's in here. But like I feel like that there's BBT, that there should be a big S on here somewhere, but I don't see that. Honestly, comment down below. Let me know if you see it, because I'm not. But this is very cool. This is very cool for a 25th anniversary figure right here. I love the coloring. I love the look. He's huge. He's freaking huge. Now the shoulder pauldrons right here, we can take the tunic off and we'll take a look at that. But the shoulder pauldrons right here peg into his back through his tunic. You can see there are peg holes. Whoops. There are pegs and peg holes right here, sockets for that. Not being a Mythic Legions collector, I'm betting there are some kind of wings, maybe, for figures like this, that you can plug like dragon wings into the back, or this is just for all of the armor bits that figures like Stavros here would normally have. And then we have the Velcro that comes down the back, and then the tunic comes off that you can just pull it out of the belt. And let me get off camera to do this. So here's his tunic off of him, and just real fast I wanted to show you that there are wires in these bottom parts, and you'll be able to see that when I put it back on him, and you can pose this up a little bit. So just so you know, that has some posability right there. It's a fairly heavy piece of material. It's kind of impressive, the quality that they put into this. But then again, it is on a monster figure, so it's not like they're trying to sew something small for like a 6-inch figure. They were able to actually get in there, give it some proper stitches, give it a heavier cloth. Now, setting that aside, let's bring our boy up here and look at the detail work, the sculpting on the scales, especially on the back right here. This is fantastic. The sculpting for his headpiece, the different coloring of the scales around the eyes, the blood red eyes are fantastic. You have those like reptilian irises in there. The yellowing of his teeth, his jaw opens up and you can see inside here. The sculpted detail, as well as like some fantastic coloring. I mean, like, this all just looks great. And then, like I said, on the back, you have scales on top of scales on top of scales. Like, this looks very organic. This looks like it would hurt you if you ran up on it. And then the scales in his arms right here. Coming down to his legs, we have even more. And one of the things I like is, just one of many things that I like, is that whenever you're looking at this, there are different qualities, different sizes, different shapes of scales, just like what would be on a real reptile, that like the scaling down here is different than the scaling on his arms or even on his back, or even like these big sort of like armored pieces right here on his torso. Now, flipping it around back, we can see that he does not connect. There is a big gap and a peg in there that does a little bit for waist articulation. That's very tight in there, this part. But you can see that there is a huge gap. It doesn't connect. And I do believe that is for a number of reasons. One, maybe trying to get a little bit more bend out of your ball joint right there. Like, look at that. That is impressive. It sticks a little. It's a little tight. You also get some nice side to side going on right there. That is part of the reason, but also there's a little bit of assembly because we have this tail right here with this looped hook that we slip that underneath and we hook that on, and that's how his tail fits on. So that's interesting. That's really cool as well. So like you can choose to have it on. It is not a put on and forget about it, because you can take it back off. So if you put it on and you don't like it, or if you just want to, like, sometimes he has a tail, sometimes you don't, you can have it there. So that is really cool, I think. He just looks fantastic. And now with his gear off, we're going to take a look at his articulation. That the head, obviously, this is a solid piece. There's not going to be any movement in the neck right here. As far as looking up, he really can't do that, which is why I think he has this waist down here that can really crank back. Looking down, that's it right there. There's no side to side, but he does have this pivot right here. You saw that his jaw articulates, and check out these scales right here whenever it opens up, how they come up like that off to the sides. That is so cool. Arms will do a full 360 spin. There is no butterfly joint, but they will come up to there, just under 90. The scaling stops it. There is no bicep swivel. However, he has single jointed elbows that will come up to roughly 90, and there is a hinge and swivel at the elbow. Wrists pivot. Wrists hinge in and out, just like his other set of hands that we'll take a look at. This is the only thing that I'm a little disappointed on, especially considering it's 4 Horsemen that did it, and these are weapon-wielding hands. I wish they would have hinged up and down rather than in and out, but que sera. You have your ab cut right here. This is where he will get the majority of his spin. He can do a little side to side, no front and back. All of that, your side to side and your front and back, is coming from this rather tight ball joint down here at the waist. But like I said, because it's not connected, you have a lot, wow, a lot of movement from, wow, that is, that does compensate for the lack of head movement. You have a lot of head movement down here at this joint. The tail even has a bit of articulation, that it has a swivel right there. Legs will come forward up past 90. Legs will come out to the side fairly well, under 90. There is a thigh swivel right here at this ball joint. Once again, like if you lift up this, you can see everything that's going on. You can see his business down in here, that the tunic is really made to cover all of this up. But you can see that ball joint right there for the thigh swivel. Single jointed knees, that because of the armor will only come to there. There is a hinge and swivel with the knee below the knee, so it acts as a boot cut. Ankles rock back. Ankles rock forward. And we have, whoops, a forward facing pin for some rocker. And now I am going to put the tunic back on him with his tail on, and we'll get a look at him armored up again. So when I was putting the tunic back on, one of the things I'm doing to help line up the shoulders and the Velcro is putting the shoulder pauldrons on and running those pegs through it first to help hold the tunic in place, and then Velcroing it up the back so we get everything nice and tight and lined up like so. And there we go. It's pulled a little tight, but it's back on him. It looks good. It looks like he's ready for battle. He is armored up. Man, I can't get over how good this looks. Look at this guy. This is just fantastic. And now with the tail coming off, are you kidding me? Like, I'm being taken back to the Dragonlance days. The Draconians. Like, that looks awesome. So out of the packaging, Stavros has a pair of gripping hands. And he comes with this pair of 3-fingered open hands right here. And one thing that I forgot to show you was that if we pop this hand off, his wrist bracers can come off as well if you would want him to just have scaled arms. The leg pieces down here don't come off. They're actually sculpted on. They're not a separate piece. So you can take off the tunic, you can take off the shoulder pauldrons, you can take off the wrist bracers. You could probably take off the belt, but it would have to do some, you'd have to like do some popping of the legs, which I'm not even going to try that, but these won't be able to come off. Stavros has few accessories. As a matter of fact, he only has 2, and this is the first one we're going to take a look at. This is his sword, and what a beast of a sword this is. Obviously, we have a very heavy dragon motif going on, including the addition of gratuitous amounts of gold inlaid into the blade for no other reason other than just to prove that he can. I love the wear and tear on the blade. Like, he's been alive for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, and this sword has seen more battles than people have seen years in their life. I love the design of this sword. I think this looks fantastic. The pommel right here looks great. I love the dragon head in the crosspiece and the dragon wings, which are a soft rubber, so those little bits right there aren't going to snap off. This part is more solid, but this part right here that hangs off is a very soft rubber. The blade has a little bit of bend to it, so it won't break immediately. It has some flex to it, but it's also not going to bend out of shape. So it's a hefty piece. It looks great, and he gets a very good grip on it. Now, the hands have some fairly flexible fingers right here. They have a soft rubber that you can kind of flex the fingers out and fit the blade into his hand, and then he gets a very solid grip on it after that. And just look at this beast of a sword right here. Like, oh man, does that suit him so well. So the only other piece that he has is this axe mace right here, and really, what else are you going to call this thing? It's a mace made up of axe blades, and it looks awesome. Has that red and gold motif going on that the sword has right here. However, this doesn't look like inlaid gold so much as it's just like painted gold, just to match up with his pig sticker down here. The handle of the weapon is fantastic. I love these carvings right here in the handle. Like maybe that's his language. Maybe that's his family history etched into the hilt of his weapon. Who knows? I love that we have a stabby pokey end right here. I love, once again, that we have like these cuts, these divots, this battle damage, this scarring going on in the blade and in the handle as well. The blades have a little bit, very little bit of give to them at the tips, so they're not going to snap off. They won't break as easily as you would normally expect them to. Also, the handle does pop off. I don't know why. The only thing I can think is that it makes it a little easier to get it on by being able to just sort of run the handle up from the bottom of his hand, like so. Whoop. Get that into his grip, and then put the head back on. Also lets you just turn it however you want it in relation to the rest of the handle. But this just looks so cool. Look at these two weapons, man. Two massive, brutal weapons that only a guy like him would be able to swing around. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed in is that there are no scabbards, no hangers, no nothing to sheath these weapons. It's not a deal breaker. It's not something that I am completely upset about, because even in real life, oftentimes great swords didn't have scabbards. People would just carry them over their shoulders. But this would have been cool if there had been like maybe a little lanyard down here and a hanger on the back of his belt that maybe he could have just hung it back there. But even still, like, just look at this. That is just so cool. That might be the thumbnail shot right there. Okay, so there's another accessory piece right here that I should have shown you whenever I had his tunic off in the first place, but I didn't realize they were in the packaging. These are replacement parts for his shoulders right here, so that you have this piece where you would plug in the shoulder pauldron, but if you wanted to take the tunic off and have him go armorless, these will actually come out. Now, the thing about these is, this did not want to come out easily, and I'm not even going to try and take this one out, but to get this one out, I had to actually use a spoon, a small spoon, and sort of like ease it under there and like scoop it out like ice cream to finally get this to pop off. Because then, let me see, you can see that they are sculpted differently. So yeah, this one replaces this one. So then this would just fit in there so that you had clean scales instead of having a peg hole right here, which the addition of these is awesome. I love that they did that. Is this going to come out now? Okay, this one comes out much easier than the ones that are already in there. I mean, they shipped like that. They probably warped and expanded and whatnot to fit into it. You can see there's a little bit of like sort of like tension on the piece right there. But yeah, it was a bit of a bear getting these original pieces out, but putting these ones in to replace it, like if you're going to pose him without the tunic on, that actually looks really cool. Now, at this point, I feel it is important to remind you that he is supposed to be 1/12 scale. Now, having said that, and now for size comparison, here he is beside Frazetta Girls, Icon Collectibles, Fire and Ice, Dark Wolf, and Tigra. Here he is beside Mattel, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Battle Armor, He-Man, and New Eternia Skeletor from the Havoc Throne. Here he is beside McFarlane Toys, The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, Geralt of Rivia, and Ciri. Here he is beside Super 7, Dungeons & Dragons, the animated series Ultimates, Hank and Sheila. Here he is beside NECA Toys, Dungeons & Dragons, Warduke, and Grimsword. And finally, here he is beside Airborne and me from the G.I. Joe Steel Corps. Stavros the Unwavering. And to think I almost wasn't going to buy this guy. Seriously, when he popped up on Big Bad Toy Store for the 25th anniversary, I looked at him, I was like, yeah, he's cool. I don't really collect anything for Horsemen, but the more I looked at him, the more I wanted to give him a shot. I liked the coloring. I liked the BBTS logo on the front of his tunic. Once again, tell me if you see the S. The black and red went really well with the Black Dragon look that he has going on. I loved the coloring around his eyes. His weapons were cool. He just looked like a big beast of a guy. And I can't believe how big of a beast of a guy he actually is. 10 inches tall, just like an eighth shy of 10 inches tall. I was not expecting him to be this large, although if I would have read the description, I would have, been better prepared for it. But I love the look of him. He looks imposing on your shelf. I mean, obviously, he's going to tower over your 1/6 scale figures. Heck, you saw he even towered over the Super 7 Ultimates and the NECA D&D figures, which I love. He looks great next to Warduke and Grimsword, I'm not going to lie. He fits in with that very well. He looks like he would fit in very well with the Frazetta Girls, too. I mean, he does fit in very well with the Frazetta Girls. You saw him with Dark Wolf and Tigra. I can't wait for my Conan figure to come in to see him match up against Conan. That is going to be awesome. You could fit him in with the Masterverse, but honestly, the quality difference between the two, Masterverse, nothing against them. You know I love my Masterverse, but Masterverse is very much more a toy-looking figure. This has some premium detail to it, some premium sculpt to it, some premium soft goods to it. Like, it's kind of a bit of a step up from the Masterverse figures, so he may fit in, may not. That all depends on you. That's a personal thing. some minor issues that I have with him. I do wish that the shoulder pieces were easier to get out. That may have just been something from shipping on the container when it was coming over the ocean. A scabbard or some kind of hanger for his weapons would have been really cool, but once again, that's a minor issue. I do really wish that his head had better articulation. I wish he had the ability to look from side to side rather than just pivot. I get why he can't do it, and I do feel that if they would have tried to have put that in there, the sculpt would have just destroyed, the articulation would have just destroyed the sculpt. It wouldn't have been the same. I do think this was the better choice that they made. I still wish there would have been a way to maybe get around that. I would really recommend making a decision whether it's going to be tunic on or tunic off. I don't think it's good to keep taking it off and putting it back on. It is a heavy material, but there is some wear and tear issues that if you keep pulling it off and on that scaled body. I mean, he's a monster. There's not much else I can say. There is a link to him in the description below. Obviously, this is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. He is in stock, so that's one of the good things, that if you do want this guy, he's in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. Link down below. Since he's already over here, there's not going to be the issue of like the import tax if you want to get him. That is kind of hitting our hobby pretty hard right now. So there's that. But this is making me want to get more Four Horsemen figures. And that's kind of killing me, because the last thing I needed to do was get into another collection. Between this and the Dickens figures that I get every Christmas, I have to rein it back. I have to rein it back. Oh, I just thought of some other ones that, like, I can't wait till my Savage Crucible figures come in and see how he matches up with them as well. Well, look who made it to the end, you legend. If you made it this far, please give the video a like and consider subscribing while you're clicking buttons down there. If you already are a subscriber, I want to thank you for taking time and hanging out with me and talking toys again. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel out, please consider becoming a member of the Steel Core. You can do so by channel memberships or by becoming a monthly subscriber to my Ko-fi page. Link in the description below. Core members get access to members-only exclusive videos, the Discord server, and eventually members-only live streams, all for just $1 per month. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.